what you want from me. I can't say that I'm hard to please. It's over once we're alone, girl. Pretty please put your mind at ease.
It's new comic book day. I got a new camera. The mic is probably sounding a little bit better, or at least crisper. Maybe it's picking up a lot more. I'm getting used to all the tools and stuff like that, so it's going to be a little bit weird for a few videos. So first, let's go over everything I read in the last week. Nightwing 134. As I talked about before, I do also have the variant cover for this. I did really like this issue. It's kind of almost entirely taking place in the fifth dimension, but you know, it's a lot of fun. It really showcases kind of like how dangerous the Zanny is, especially with how casual he can just like destroy Bloodhaven like on a whim. And then I think it's kind of clear that Dan Watters is kind of taking down a lot of the Nightwing that he inherited and then kind of rebuilding it back up as he writes. And maybe in the next arc there's going to be like a more clear vision of what Dan Watters is going to do with Nightwing. We will have to see. I'm having a lot of fun with this issue specifically and the series specifically. The arc ends in one more issue. You know, Dexter Soy comes back for the final issue of the arc, and then I think there'll be a new artist after that for the new arc, which I'm excited for. I'm excited to see new villains. I wonder if they're gonna go with more of people of the comedy troupe in the Italian comedy troupe. We'll have to see, but I am excited to see what new villains and characters like pop up, because I think Nightwing definitely needs more of a consistent supporting cast. So let's see if Dan Watters can do that. Next, I read Wonder Woman 29. This is by Stephanie Williams. This is no longer Tom King. I did really enjoy this. Wonder Woman's actually not in this very much, but it's actually, I think, a really good display of all the supporting cast, all the Wonder Girls and Amazons or Amazonians. I think this is actually a pretty strong case for Wonder Woman needing sensation comics. You know, Superman has action comics, Batman has detective comics. I think Wonder Woman needs to have sensation comics brought back, and then we can see more of these Amazon, more characters that are specifically Wonder Woman mythos that aren't really going to be uprooted by like big events and stuff like that. Unfortunately though, this is only going to be a 2-issue arc. I'm hoping that maybe Stephanie Williams can come back in as a main writer for Wonder Woman. If not, maybe Kelly Thompson. I am just not really vibing with the Tom King stuff. I haven't been reading it, but I've been reading enough of it through like previews and panels that I've seen online and stuff like that. And I know Tom King's writing. Like, I have 10 issues of his Batman saga up here. I have Mr. Miracle, I have The Vision, I have Superman Woman of Tomorrow. Like, I know Tom King's writing. So when I see previews and stuff like that, I know what's going to happen. I can tell the vibe. Batman Ego and Other Tales, and specifically the Other Tales, is a big part of this book because a majority of this is actually a Catwoman story. Like, I think 60 pages is Batman Ego, and then 100 something is the Catwoman story, which is super weird to me. And I guess like they advertise it as a collection of stories. There's other stories in here that are like 1 issue long, maybe 10 pages. But the Catwoman one is a really huge portion of this, which was surprising to me. I thought, you know, obviously I thought Ego would be the biggest one, but it's like a strong part. It's the first story, but it's not the biggest part. And the Catwoman story in here is also collected in the Catwoman Compact, which I do have, which I will try to read. I did read it when it was in here, so I could probably skip through it in the Compact, but it was okay. I mean, I think there's a lot to like about it. There's some good meat in there, but I think generally it was okay. The Ego story itself was actually okay to me. I think it's because we've seen it a lot played before, but maybe this was one of the earlier times they've talked about like Batman's psyche and stuff like that. So I do appreciate there's at least like a blueprint for it, you know? It's nothing like that I really like not read before, whether it's like books that came after this or before this or anything, or adaptations, but it is good to have like, you know, a sort of blueprint to look back on and be like, oh, here's a book specifically about Batman's psyche and like where he's coming from and stuff like that. New history of the DC universe. This one is a big one. I might have to make a dedicated video about this one because there is a lot in here. There's so many inconsistencies, things happen in different orders, and new things are being added in, rearranged, changed. It's really weird, especially because this is supposed to be like a concrete history, a timeline of the DC universe. It's essentially like the DC history Bible, but there's a lot of liberties being taken here, and it's really confusing because there's also a lot of stuff being left out that is pretty important. You know, some things that are included in here, I feel like that wasn't necessary. Like, that was fluff. Like, you don't need to add that. And there's other stuff that was important, or at least more important than some of the things in here. And I was like, why didn't you mention that? Like, that was something that was a big part of the timeline. And then there's also like an extended index, you know, at the back of this book that is the timeline in a more concrete way, in a beat by beat kind of way. And even that leaves stuff out. Like, that's supposed to include everything, or at least more, but it still leaves out a lot, which I thought was really surprising. But yeah, when I first read this, I wrote out like all my thoughts and stuff, and it was like 4+ pages, and it could probably be more, but I was trying to keep it short, and even then it was kind of long. But I might make like extended YouTube video of all my thoughts about this. We will have to see. I'm not sure when that's gonna be because, you know, I'm not having a lot of free time recently, but I will try my best. So here's everything I got this week. I only got 2 things for comic book day. DCKO, the kids are all fight. I thought this was interesting just mostly because of Cassandra Cain, but I think this is also kind of a precursor to the new Titans team. We still don't fully know who's on that team except for John Kent Superman, which is a little weird. You know, they keep putting him on different things, hanging out with the Legion of Superheroes. He's hanging out with Secret Six. Now he's going to be on Titans. They're just kind of putting them everywhere and see where it fits, which is kind of funny. We'll see how this is. And then I do want to read the new Titans team, see how that is. I think the lineup, at least what it's hinting towards, is a little weird. We'll have to see. Maybe it works better in paper in the issue, but I'm not too sure right now. And then I got Wonder Woman, or Absolute Wonder Woman 16. This is supposed to be like the Zatanna introduction, a formal introduction, because she was technically introduced in a prior issue. But this will be a lot of fun to see Zatanna in a villain role. I haven't been reading the Absolute, you know, not consistently. I've been getting the trades when that comes out. I'm trying to read it in trades because I feel like it's a little bit better. So I'm a little behind on Wonder Woman, but I do kind of know the gist of what's been going on. I also think there's been a Yasmin Putri variant for this. For some reason, that doesn't exist anymore. I noticed that a couple weeks ago. It wasn't listed anymore, and I thought that was really weird. Maybe they're going to re-release that under a new issue. We will see. But I was disappointed that they didn't have that for this issue, and I don't know why. I got the main A cover issue anyway because I did want to read this story regardless of the cover. If they bring that cover back, I'll buy it. I think for issue 18, there's also a cover by Yasmin, so I'll definitely get that one. Unless they remove that one as well, we'll see. But yeah, that's all I got for today. So let me know what you guys got. Let me know what you guys have been reading, and let me know what you guys think.